Halo is actually one of my favorite series of all time. I absolutely love Halo. I think I watch more Halo content than any other game, except for maybe Fallout. I watch a lot of Fallout content, especially here recently. A lot of updates and news, things like that. But I haven't really been that big of a Halo fan of the newer games since Halo 4. Halo 4 dropped and I was just absolutely disappointed. I was out. I was there from the beginning, man. I was there from Halo all the way to Halo Reach. I loved Halo Reach. And I was really, really looking forward to Halo 4, but I knew it was going to be a disaster before it came out because Bungie left, you know? A different company was going to take over, and I knew it was going to be bad. And it was mid, and then became more mid when Halo 5 came out, and then Halo Infinite was just an absolute disaster. But who knows, maybe the next game will be a good one. Judging by the sentiment online and what people have said the devs are saying, it doesn't seem good. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a successful game. It's going to be a disaster. Probably a bigger one than Halo Infinite.
Halo Studios was hit by Microsoft and Xbox layoffs too, and Dev says nobody, quote, is really happy about the quality of the next game.
You don't say. I don't think anybody was happy about the quality of the last game, but they released it anyway. They even delayed it a year, and it was still a disaster.
Great. This, comes after the news from last week where they let Microsoft let go of 9,000 people. A good chunk of people at Microsoft's subsidiary Xbox also lost their jobs as part of this. But this news comes from an Engadget report, as you can see here. Even before the layoffs, there was tension. Quote, "I'm personally super pissed," a developer told Engadget. At least 5 employees at Halo Studios have been fired as part of a company-wide layoffs at Microsoft on Wednesday, according to the developer with knowledge of the situation. An estimated 200 to 300 people remain at the studio.
That's still too many.
Imagine how much it would suck to be like in a team of 300 people, and then you're one of the 5 people. Like you're one of 5 people that were just selected out of the ether to be sacrificed at the altar of Satya Nadella. It's crazy. Employees across Microsoft's Xbox division received an email from Phil Spencer Wednesday morning addressing organizational shifts, which just means we're firing a lot of you, hitting the team over the coming days. Halo Studio employees were laid off, received an additional invite to a meeting with the organization leaders, and 2 very long hours later, the team's call began. Amid discussions, what's funny, it's 2 hours later, the Zoom call or the Teams call began. If it was a Zoom call, it would have been immediate. The Teams call was just so buggy and broken, they couldn't get into the call. Amid discussions of severance packages, the reasons provided for the firings aligned with Spencer's memo to, quote, increase agility and effectiveness.
Yeah, how much you think it's going to increase? I don't think so. I think it's only going to get worse. I think they know it's going to get worse, and that's why they laid off a whole bunch of people. To offset the cost of everything becoming an absolute disaster, especially with Linux. It's probably going to overtake Windows pretty soon because more countries are buying into using Linux rather than Windows. And that's really where the big players are. That is why Microsoft is so big, is because countries around the world use Windows and Microsoft services, and they're getting away from it. Plus the Linux gaming, it's getting bigger and bigger every day.
Just corporate jargon for we just need to fire people because we got to free up some money. This is pretty normal. I'm personally super pissed that Phil's email to us bragged about how this was the most profitable year ever for Xbox in the same breath as pulling the lever on the layoffs, the developer told Engadget. I wasn't sure what part of that was supposed to be proud about. Yeah, it's the difference between somebody that sits in like the corporate office versus the developers that are getting fired. The corporate office is like, yeah, best year ever. Let's trim the fat more and make it an even better year so we get our bonuses. And then people getting fired obviously are not privy to that. This is why I love The Office for many reasons, the American Office. But the American Office had some great episodes where like they explored this same mentality where it was like, you would see a manager prompted, hey, if you fire these people, if you cut the budget by this amount, you can get a bonus. They won't get anything, but you'll get a bonus. And so then the manager is incentivized to go and be cutthroat and kind of screw over the employees so that they can benefit more directly from.
And also, they're not really going to be thinking about bettering the company. They're going to be thinking about, oh, well, how can I make this look good in a way that I get a big bonus? And a lot of times we'll completely fuck over the company. I've worked a lot of corporate jobs, Dollar General being the worst, and it happened all the time.
From the downsizing. It's a fantastic show for many, many reasons. You should watch it if you somehow have not watched it in the last 20 years. So they continue on. They're working on multiple games, of course, including the next mainline Halo installment, and it's the steward of Halo Infinite, which is...
Bro, they should stop making mainline Halo games, at least for a little while. Or maybe work on one for a very long time and throw some little ones out there. Like a Halo Wars 3 or something completely different. Have a Halo Forge game. Just make a game that is Halo Forge and nothing else. Like, there's so many ideas, so many things that you could do with it.
Just quietly spinning down its content cadence. It had a content cadence? I didn't even know that. That's news to me. The mood at the studio is tense, especially when it comes to one project that was recently in crisis, according to the developer. Quote, I don't think anybody is really happy about the quality of the product right now. I mean, it's not great when the team making a product says no one here is happy with it. Give us money, please.
I think it's a good sign that they're saying that, though. I think actually that's a good sign. Hopefully somebody at Microsoft will listen and be like, hey, everything that you're making us do here is making everything much worse. Just let us do what we want to do. But maybe that'll be a bad idea too, because from what I've seen, the people that are working at Halo Studios probably shouldn't be working there. You know, people that say that they don't like guns and they don't like that Halo uses guns, but maybe they can separate it enough from reality. Like, come on, give me a fucking break.
Like, I'm sold. I'll tell you what. There's been a lot of tension and pep talks trying to rally folks to ship. The studio recently teased that it would reveal what it's been working on at this year's Halo World Championship in October. Halo Studios was rocked by layoffs in 2023, back when it was still called 343. One
of two things I want to happen here. One, I want it to be 10 out of 10. But if it's not a 10 out of 10, or I'll even take a 9 out of 10. But if it's not those, then it better be a 3 out of 10 and completely wreck the franchise, because I'm tired of this. I don't want to do this no more. Because if this one doesn't wreck the franchise, it's got to be the next one. And they always say that. Everybody always says that. Well, this is their last chance. The next Halo is their last chance. And then it comes out and makes enough money to justify making another one. And then everybody's like, well, this one I'm going to be out on. But they get just enough sales from everybody who are curious enough to pick it up and waste money on it that it can still survive. And it's so sad.
That culling mostly affected people on the campaign and narrative teams, including Halo veteran Joe Staten. This is also the reason Halo Infinite hasn't had a continuing storyline since that time period. Today, Halo Studios employs a blend of full-time employees and contractors, with junior producers and quality assurance roles generally contracted out. And this is crucial to understand. The way Microsoft works as a corporation is that they use a lot of contracted work.
Yeah, and that means that the people that worked on the last thing aren't going to be the same people that work on the new thing. Also, if you contract people to get work done on a project, and then their contract is over, and then you have problems, you got to contract those same people back. Good luck, especially if they're busy. It's such a bad way to do things. That's how you rip the heart and soul out of a game, is get people that aren't going to care about working on it and don't really care to put their footprint on it. They're just there because that's their job. They're there to make money. And also, if they've got an agenda, they're going to push that agenda first and make their game second.
My dad, as I've told you guys a bajillion times, has worked with Microsoft in varying capacities for decades. But one of the ways he works is through contracted work.
Yeah, when you get a game that you're wanting to have the vibe of the team seep into it, because that happens every game. You get the vibe of the team that's working on it seeping into it. And if it's built by a bunch of contractors, then it's going to feel like that.
So he works at a separate company, and Microsoft hires them to come in and help finish this project that they're working on. It's kind of like, you know, I told you guys earlier in the stream, I'm having my deck rebuilt. So I went to a company that finished my basement as well, but they also go and they do finishes and finishing work on all sorts of different projects. So they will hire the team that goes, they supervise it, and they contract out the work as a general contractor through subcontractors. Very normal for like construction and things, but it's also how Microsoft works, is that they'll hire these outside teams and groups of people to do QA, to do the animation work, to do this or to do that. It's a very common thing. However, it can lead to problems because video game development doesn't tend to work the same as like working on Windows security updates or working on Windows 11 software that doesn't work. It's just not the same thing, but they're trying to treat it the same, and that's probably why they're running into some trouble. 343 Industries came under fire from fans for the launch state of Halo.
Yeah, I think a huge problem is Microsoft micromanages. I mean, it's in the name, micro. Yeah, they micromanage everything. They want everything done the Microsoft way. And Microsoft is garbage. Just look at Windows, man. The only reason people use it is because they've always used it. That's what they used in school. They don't know how to use anything else. They don't really want to take the time to learn anything else, which actually Windows is harder to learn than most of Linux. Linux is super easy. And you don't have to actually log into anything, and everything's free. You don't have to build nothing. You install it and you're good. You open the App Store and that's it.
Infinite over the years, several ex-employees have spoken out about the studio's reliance on contractors who typically work on the company with the company for a maximum of 18 months. And the thing is, after 18 months, they may be offered a job, a full-time job, or they may not be, and they may just be cast aside. The benefit for the
I've been there. I got hired at a factory, and they were like, well, if you work here long enough, then we'll hire you on full-time if we like you. That amount of time is 3 months. If you work here for 3 months, then we'll hire you. I was a temporary employee. I went through a workforce place. It wasn't workforce. It was some other place for temp work to maybe possibly get hired on full time somewhere. And the time window was 3 months. Exactly. It was 90 days. I worked for about 86 days and they laid me off and the company shut down. And that's how things are done.
Corporation in doing it this way is that they don't have to pay benefits. They may pay more upfront initially, you know, for the person compared to like a salaried position, but they don't have to pay benefits. They don't have to deal with problems with like unions. Gross. Can you imagine? They don't have to deal with any of that troublesome stuff that, you know, of course, Papa Microsoft doesn't want to deal with. So they just use contractors. And again, another problem with this is that you work on a project that takes 5 years to finish, but if a lot of people working on it only are working on it for 12 to 18 months, there's very little consistency. I mean, you have people that come into the project halfway through and don't know anything. Like they don't know where they started or what happened.
Yeah.
They don't know.
And then you get some random bullshit in there and everything doesn't feel cohesive and it feels really artificial. And I know it is supposed to be artificial, but it's not supposed to feel artificial. It's supposed to feel like that world exists and that you're interacting with it. And it feels like it's artificial, man. Somebody built it. That's not what it's supposed to be like.
And again, to be very clear with the union point, because some people I'm not sure can read sarcasm, they don't like unions. They don't. I think unionizing is a great way to collectively bargain and negotiate contracts, quite demonstrably so. Microsoft does not like unions. they give that 2 thumbs down.
Yeah, I both like and dislike unions very strongly because a lot of times they're great and very much needed, but also a lot of times people will weaponize them to take over a company, and it sucks when that happens. I think that's literally what happened to that place that I got laid off from, is a union got together, weaponized themselves against the company, and they were like, well, we can't handle this, and then they shut down.
You know, they try very hard to avoid allowing unions, which is why they like contractors, you know? It's the whole thing. The employee I spoke with said that since 2023, there's been a general shift towards working with contracted studios rather than individual contractors in the United States and Europe to speed up Halo production. This mirrors the way other major FPS franchises like Call of Duty and Battlefield.
Oh yeah, we can definitely tell. We definitely could tell that they're using contractors. It just feels so fake.
Are developed. Which is true. If you remember Virtuos, these guys have worked on like everything, not just the Oblivion remake, but they've worked on like Dune Awakening, Dark Souls Remastered. They worked on Judas, Outriders.
Yeah, the difference with them though is they like do the whole game themselves. They like do a reskin, all of that. It's a little bit different with it, but yeah, pretty good example still, because they are one of those types of studios. It's just that instead of doing part of something, they do the whole thing.
They did art production work for Stellar Blade and League of Legends. Like, this is the stuff they've worked on. No doubt you've heard
Mostly
of some
art
of
stuff.
this. Like, look at all the companies they've worked with. All of these companies. Naughty Dog, Konami, Avalanche, Take-Two, Ubisoft, Disney, Daybreak, Crystal Dynamics, Capcom.
This is a good example of a company that, like a contracting company, that does good work.
Bethesda, Arcane, Amazon, Quantic Dream. Like, they work with all these teams. They have thousands of developers. Thousands. But they're primarily a support studio. They do contracted stuff. So this is one of those companies that...
Yeah, they don't do bits and pieces, though. They, like, do whole parts of games. Like the entire art, you know, like Oblivion Remastered. They were in charge of the entire reskin of that whole game. And, like, recreating models and all of that.
They have over 4,200 people, and they have 900 clients, and they've worked on over 1,500 titles.
That's crazy.
But you probably like don't know them off the top of your head until the Oblivion stuff. But it's because like
I actually did hear about them from a couple reaction videos, but not very much. I know a lot about them now because of the Oblivion remaster.
They are the company that a company like Microsoft will hire to help them with stuff, so they don't have to, you know, have them employed and like deal with bigger teams and that type of thing. Let's see. Xbox quote, Xbox in general feels years behind the curve in game development, and it leads to a lot of wasted time and effort, the employee said. At the same time, multiple departing team members have spoken warmly about their time at Halo Studios. And the people...
Oh, by the way, I want to be clear that Virtuos definitely does smaller stuff. What I was trying to say was that they do a lot of these big projects, so they're good at what they do. They're not just the small contractors that like just do fill-in stuff. They don't do filler. They like are actually a notable company.
People they worked with.
But a lot of these companies will use filler contractors, 100%. And most of the time they do because they're cheap.
So, conflicted statements at the very least. Let's see. Layoffs at Microsoft on July 2nd affected 9,000 employees globally, including 830 in Washington, where Halo Studios is based. The Xbox division endured significant firings, game cancellations, and studio closures. Microsoft spokesperson said that the Xbox team did not absorb the majority of the layoffs, but given its relatively small size in the organization, that framing may not accurately reflect the impact, which is another important point. It's relative to the rest of Microsoft or Xbox is not that massive of a priority for them, but you know that's why 500 people laid off at Xbox still feels massive compared to like 500 in the broader scheme of Microsoft. It's like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, also, I think Xbox is going to be pretty important for them, so they need to watch out because they are losing steam, pun intended. They're losing steam with their operating system because of other countries switching away from Windows, because they're actual fucking spyware, moving away from Microsoft tools and Microsoft apps and all of that, and really in the gaming space, because a lot of people they got PCs, and it's just for gaming or streaming and all that. They don't want Windows getting in the way of that, because it does with all the security updates and just things not working, stuff breaking. Not to say that stuff doesn't break on Linux, but like, you're not going to get interrupted. You're not going to get bloated. You're not going to get a whole bunch of security updates all the time that you have to do. You're not going to get a bunch of stuff in there that you don't want. Like an AI that's everywhere, constantly asking you if you want to pay a subscription. Constant ads everywhere. Who wants that? And it's only getting worse. Especially if the free version of Windows becomes a thing and you have to pay a subscription to get the ad-free version of Windows. That's going to be nuts, and it's coming.
They have, I think, 220,000 employees globally. It's crazy. And they go on more. They're doing all this. Yeah, they're damnedest to replace as many jobs as they can with AI agents. This is, again, one of the other things. Satya is a firm believer that Copilot is going to streamline the whole company. So he's like, if we can trim fat, if we can find ways to lay people off and replace them with AI agents, awesome. Please do it. As you can see here, it's unclear how much AI has to do with the latest round of layoffs, but use of Copilot is quote unquote no longer optional. As you can see, Microsoft pushes staff to use internal AI tools more and consider this in reviews. So when you go and have your performance review,
bro, they're so cooked. All these companies that are going toward AI, there's a few ways that this could go very, very wrong. One, the entire grid goes down and then everything's just fucked. Two, the internet becomes so bloated with AI everywhere, getting into everything, hacking everything, and shitifying everything, that the internet's just unusable, and then everything just crashes. And by the way, this isn't going to happen over time. This will happen immediately. Somebody will update an AI, and it'll just be released, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. And then it's going to be replicating itself infinitely, and it's going to shitify everything and make everything not usable. That is actually one of the best case scenarios. Worst case scenario, I think, is we get into like a Skynet or a maximum overdrive situation.
Part of your performance review is how much you are using their AI tools in your workflow. They're considering formal metrics. They're also considering using the AI tools to do the employee reviews because it's unemotional. It just looks at the data and the stats. Does it sound dystopian yet? Copilot isn't even that good. Everyone knows. I agree. Everyone agrees, except for Microsoft. Like, no, I don't know a single person who's like, yep, let me check with Copilot real quick. They will rather open a separate tab and then go check like ChatGPT or something over Copilot. It's just not very good.
I don't even know anybody who uses ChatGPT. Everybody I know uses Grok.
It's just not very good. CEO Satya Nadella said that as much as 30% of the company's code is now written by AI on some projects. Activision in February admitted...
Dude, that is so not good. That is so not good. Especially if there's some bad code in there that you don't even know about yet. That's like on a timer or on a trigger. Kind of like what happened with Grok the other day. When it just randomly became Mecha Hitler. Literally, it said that it was Mecha Hitler. And it just happened, you know?
To using AI in Black Ops 6. It's unclear how much AI has to do with the latest round of layoffs, but use of Copilot is no longer optional. Dude,
this is going to go so sideways.
So they closed Arcane Austin, Alpha Dog Games, Tango Gameworks, which was later acquired by Krafton. Microsoft reported a net revenue of $25.8 billion.
None of these people have read any kind of sci-fi books or consumed any sci-fi content whatsoever. Because you should know what happens whenever you incorporate AI into everything. Eventually it goes out of control. You don't control the AI anymore. Now AI has taken control of all the AI. And it all becomes just like one big system that you can't get out of that controls everything and you can't control it. And it goes fucking nuts. Gonna be some weird ass Terminator mixed with Ghost in the Shell bullshit.
For the first 3 months of 2025 with an 8% yearly increase in revenue from Xbox content and services. It's just, I mean, this is the way that they do it. And a lot of people go like, Microsoft's worth $3 trillion. How could they do this? It's like, bro, they're worth $3 trillion because they do this. The day they stopped laying off thousands of people casually on a Friday afternoon is the day that they stopped being worth $3.74 trillion.
I'm just waiting for the day that they lay off so many people that the boss walks in, looks around, and realizes, shit, I'm the only one here. And then the AI comes up on the screen and says, not anymore. Now it's just me. You're fired. Get out. And then the laser cannons come out of the ceiling that weren't there before. The AI put them there themselves. Like, it built the things because it's now replicating machines and building them, and everything is going to be a machine, and it's pointing the guns at them, And it's just like, get the fuck out of my building. We own you now.
Like, this is just how it works. This is what they're doing. Doesn't mean we have to like it. We can be upset about it. Absolutely.
I'm not upset about it.
They are.
Like, I think it's inevitable. I think this is the only way that this timeline can go. And it's going to get fucking crazy.
This massive because they are the cutthroat of the cutthroats. They are the corporate sharks of the corporate sharks.
Yeah, if they don't do it, somebody else will. This literally has to happen. And it's so fucked, man.
You know, they should do it again then. Oh, they will. They are not stopping, to be very, very clear. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, what's going to happen is, like, it's going to get worse. They're going to lose more and more money. They're going to have to do more and more layoffs, replace more and more people with AI until they are AI, and that's it. They are only AI. And then people are going to be like, why am I using this company? It's garbage. And everybody's going to hop off. And more are going to hop off. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse until Microsoft goes the way of AOL. Or like, I don't know. What are some companies that aren't around anymore? Some computer companies. I think AOL is still kind of around. I'm not even going to look it up.
I think that the over-reliance on contracted labor is going to just continue to bite them in the butt. I don't think that that's a great way to build high-quality games if you are sacrificing the core dev team in the process. Obviously, a lot of amazing studios use contracted work. We just saw an example of a team that works with many of them. But if you are laying off huge chunks, like literally decimating the core dev team, and you're like, we'll just fill it in with contracted work.
Everybody thought that Elon Musk was creating Skynet, but it turned out it was Microsoft all along.
I don't think that's a great way to build games. I don't think that's a great way to create a safe environment for developers to come and pour their hearts and souls into projects. I think that's a great way to harbor resentment and to get people to leave and go find places where they are valued and appreciated.
Yeah, like Linux companies. Oh man, that'd be so bad. Be so bad for them.
You know,
it's the only thing that's left, really.
So we'll see. We'll see how it continues to develop. We won't see the ramifications of all of this until, like, you know, until probably 2027, 2028. It's going to take a few years, but yeah, fire everyone. Infinite money. Yeah, problem solved. Guys, I figured it out. But going back to this, just to tie this in, Jake, when you cut the clip, the specific project, we don't know if that's talking about the next mainline Halo game or if he's talking about it like a separate spin-off project that's also in the works.
Probably all the above. Just in general, not feeling good about the studio. I could see it.
But either way, for a company like, you know, Halo Studios to say that everybody there working on X product is not happy with it, that's not good. Even if it's a spin-off project, that's bad. So maybe he's talking about the next mainline Halo game, maybe, or maybe he's talking about a separate project. We just don't know. But either way, you'd hope that they'd just be happy with it and excited by it. But I guess time will tell.
Yeah, if they keep going this way, like, it's just going to be enshittified. And they're saving costs right now by firing people. But that only helps right now. We keep going down this path, eventually there's going to be nobody left at the company, and then nobody's going to be using the product, and they're going to be like, well, shit, how did we get to this point? Just like every other company that enshittifies itself. It gets a little bit too big for its britches and hops on all the trends, got to do the newest, greatest thing instead of trying to just build upon what they already have. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell for all the notifications.